are hot. I think we're good. Dynamite. All right. First, the sponsors before we get to the shenanigans. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. Go check out all the sponsors. I want to start with Gallo Technologies, Rhino Metals, Pink Box Donuts. Got to shout them out. Monster Energy. Let me try to think. Hold on. I'm missing a few things. I got some background chatter. Let me fix it. Yeah, hang on.
It's coming back.
Back to the sponsors. Fix that. So, Right On Optics, Blackwater Ammunition, Breakthrough Clean, Manscaped, your balls will thank you. Appreciate them. Well, Courts and Firearms. And head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. Go check out the list of sponsors there. Everybody who makes the show possible. We appreciate them. Special guest today. It's going to be fun. He's going to fuel up on some donuts while we go. I'm excited about this. We got the one and only Realworld Tactical. So listen, let's dive right in. Wait, no. Get to the snacks. Let's jump right in here. You got some major announcements. You haven't been in here since Call of Duty. It's a lot to cover. There's a lot to cover.
While. Yeah, so I actually haven't. This is the first podcast I've done in a long time. Just haven't been doing them.
Pull the mic. Talking on the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's way. See how intimate that is?
I got that. I got it.
So, wait. Well, let's start with the Call of Duty thing because that's a thing.
That's a big thing, huh?
It's a big fucking deal.
It's a big thing, except I don't even play Call of Duty, so like.
Don't.
Listen, it's weird, man. No. I tell people all the time, I was like, look, I play Call of Duty as myself.
We all played video games.
Oh, yeah. Well, the last time I played video games was Sega Genesis, right? So that's for my older people. I play Call of Duty right now as myself, playing against myself, and then I get killed by myself. Tell me that's not awkward.
Awkward.
Very awkward. And it's like, and the guy, they did a phenomenal job making the guy look like me. He looks like a 27-year-old of me, though. He looks like a lot younger than me, you know? So
is that a bad thing?
No, it's a good thing. I look buffer. I look cooler. It makes me look like, they made him look like, like a badass. I'm just an old man now.
Try to educate everybody. How does something like that come together? They reach out to you, you reach out to them. Fan request?
They reached out to me, a company called TAC Fuel brand. They're the ones that are in charge of doing all the characters and stuff. And they liked my look, my character, and they asked me if I would be interested in the concept of being a skin or a character in the game. I don't play the game, so I never really thought anything of it. And TAC Fuel brand went back to Activision, and then Activision said, yes, 100%, it's green light. And they made it happen, man. So thank you to them. They're pretty badass.
I know it's one of those things that's not on your radar, but it is pretty fucking cool.
Are those new glasses, John?
Yeah.
Since when do you wear glasses?
Since forever.
Jesus. Are you nearsighted or farsighted?
Near.
You're a fucking walking disaster.
I am. So
can't even see now either. Jesus.
No. I can see fine. It's just sometimes when I write or sometimes when they're like almost cheaters. So I need a little help sometimes.
Listen, hey, this year, no lie, if that phone is closer than about, I would say maybe 6-7 inches off my face, blurry completely. I can't see anymore. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Like at far,
we're getting old. We're gonna get to that. But
that
That
age
is catching.
The big 4-0 is catching up to me.
So wait, back to the whole deal. So that happens, and that's kind of I know we're a little old for video games. I get it, but that's
bro. Listen, let me tell you something, man. I have had people come up to me that you would never think in a million years.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you would never think in a million years that they played the game. I mean, it is the largest game in the world, 75 million strong. season 5 at least made it 75 million strong. I think season 4 it was 50 million, and then by the end of season 5 it was 75 million strong. So I mean that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a number of people reached out to you surprised. I know that they have, actually. We talked about it. Surprised that, oh shit, it's you, But they didn't use the Realworld Tactical brand. They used you as a skin.
They can't, yeah.
Yeah.
So Activision can't use any brands on the game because of the lawsuits, the civil lawsuits. Anything that's patented, anything that's for example, if you have a certain technology or a certain type of logo or a certain type of thing like that, that is just for your brand, they won't use it. So yeah, that's just the way they are.
Now, for everybody out there that's interested, it's season 5, and they have to go in, they have to purchase it. How does that work?
Well, they had to get the battle pass.
Okay.
For my character, they bought the battle pass.
I think I bought it.
Yeah, which gave you like a whole bunch of like guns and different things like that. And then with that, they got my first skin. Then I believe to get my other 2 skins, they had to get a certain amount of kills or they had to like get a certain amount of points or something. Graduate to each skin. So there's 3 different skins.
Promote to it, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things that comes out of nowhere. We've had a few of those moments in the business that it's just exciting. It's kind of like a perfect opportunity thing that pops up, and it's got to be, just a cool, like one of those, man, this is fucking cool moments.
No, absolutely. Listen, I'm grateful, man, for any kind of dipping into that demographic that I would have never done in what I do, like in the fitness, firearms, and mixed martial arts. Going into the gaming world itself, and the gaming world is so large. Dipping into that demographic was pretty.
It's amazing the money
crazy.
People are making in fucking gaming.
Oh my gosh, it's insane, bro. The people have no idea.
We start talking about it, but I think we both get a little embarrassed. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's some of these YouTubers. They're pulling 7 figures. With,
easy.
Batting, barely, playing a video game. You know what I'm saying? Doing nothing. No, let me not say that. I don't want to get anybody upset. They're doing something. They're working for their money, and they had to bust their ass to get what they have. You know what I mean? In regards to getting a YouTube following and becoming good at the game. And I'm the type of person that regardless of what you do in life, if you're successful in what you're doing,
you're working,
number 1. And number 2, playing those video games, as much as people don't want to admit it,
it all becomes work.
It's a skill. No, but it's a skill. You have to, it's a skill. At the end of the day, having a remote control in your hand and being able to beat everyone at it, beating the tournaments and becoming very successful at doing it, it becomes a skill, and you become very, very good at it. And you can't deny that. I can't deny anybody that. Just like playing an instrument or playing whatever, it's a skill, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy for us because when we, I got to be honest, when we started down this road 10 years ago, I never would have pictured where it would be now, and how
I don't think any of us did,
and how crazy it's become, the content, the way that it flows. But you know me, I've always been pounding the table as a progressive in this space, and I've become more and more progressive in it because I just see it's so easy to see in our industry, especially in the firearms industry, because we've seen all the mistakes made in the fitness industry where they've gone wrong. And we saw it, in Olympia when they were trying to push, Flex Magazine, and they were trying to save the magazines. And we saw all that fail. And this year not having SHOT Show and seeing the failures of the gun industry, to you and I, it's almost so clear where it needs to go. Whether or not it'll get there is another story. And why is it people like you, John Lovell, they're so ahead, but yet the companies and the establishment is so far behind? Can't figure that out.
I learned, or we learned early on, that just being a firearms instructor wasn't going to cut it. It wasn't going to cut it. Like I wasn't going to be happy just being a firearms instructor. It started off as just that, as a retirement for me. That's what I wanted to do it as the beginning. And when I realized the potential of what you could do with social media, with the social media platform, and it's always been a business to me. No matter how you look at slice and dice, and I'm a businessman before anything, and you got to be smart about the choices that you make in whatever demographic you're pushing through, or whatever brand you have, or whatever it is that you're doing. But a lot of these guys, they get caught up in the so hard to, they get caught up in the facade of being a badass instructor or being this or being that, or they're just complacent or just happy with what they're doing, which is fine too. I just never was. My thing was always, you know, at the end, your goal is, number one, I tell people all the time as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, your goal is to be making money while you're sleeping. If you're not making money while you're sleeping, that's a problem, because it gets to a point where you're going to get old and you can't be working 15-hour days anymore. You know what I mean? To continue to make money. So what do you see in the firearms instruction guys? What do they end up doing? They realize that they cap out at a certain amount of money. There's only so much you can teach.
There's only so many weekends.
Only so many weekends, only so many things. So then there's like, all right, let me start making products. So they try to use their reputation, their credentials, and their background to make products. You know, and at the end of the day, that's the smartest thing they could do. To use their platform, whatever platform it is, and push whatever products that they want. Why? Because in the morning when you wake up and you made a certain amount of money, you know, overnight on your website or whatever, that was the goal. To make a certain amount of money before you even woke up. You wake up in the morning, you made some money, and you're like, wow, okay, so I don't really have to work that hard today. You know what I'm saying? As a police officer, you know, I look at my paychecks sometimes from when I was a cop compared to what it is now, and it's like, it's kind of mind-boggling to me how complacent I was making just that amount of money, you know?
That obsession you alluded to with being the biggest badass in the room, that'll never go away in this business. That'll never change.
Yeah.
There's always going to be another crop of people, but we're always affected by the theaters that we're in, especially at the shows. And now with the COVID thing and everything else, it changes the dynamic. And you have a lot of less people overseas. You have this defund the police movement. So you have so many different variables now, which is making it for a very interesting time. The thing I never understood about the firearms business was always, as you know, that move to be the biggest badass and everybody wanted to be that person. But I'm saying to myself, are you turning away somebody's money because they're not badass enough? Is a company turning away somebody's money? Because it's we almost like shoot ourselves in the face because we're trying to be like gatekeepers. And in the end, the best instructors, the best people, the best folks in this business all want to make everybody better. You know, it's about taking the fat kid in the corner of the room or the guy who's never shot a gun and teaching them or showing them or giving them some tools or having some fun. We're jaded because we're around everything that's the best of the best in so many ways. So we're jaded. You like that reference there?
Yeah, that was good.
Best of the best.
Best of the best.
So we're a little. There's an inside.
You got to put the song on, man.
Yeah, that's a story. But
when they edit this, make sure you put the song on.
Look at the copyright.
Yeah.
But the truth is, there are some great instructors out there, and there's some great people in this business, and that's what keeps us in this business. I'm just always surprised at how slow the establishment is to get the things that I think are so obvious correct. Like seeing what John's doing with Warrior Poets Sighting, what you're doing with him, and some of the collaborations
Got
there.
a great show coming up.
Great show. Yeah. And I think,
Breakable Mind.
But I think John isn't doing anything crazy. I think it's smart. And the industry calls for it. But my point is, Tony, you're the expert, right? You've been mastering social media for a long time. Why can't the NRA or NSSF or anybody figure that stuff out?
I'm not an expert, man. To me, I try to stay ahead of the game, I guess. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's always been my goal, to try to be like, all right, what's the next innovation that I can come up with? What's the next best thing that's coming out? So let me get ahead of it.
All right.
With you know, and I'm gonna give John Lovell some credit. You hear this, if you hear this, you know what I mean. Yeah. John Lovell's a phenomenal person, a great personality, charismatic guy, funny, great instructor, and he's a very, very smart businessman. You know, him and Evan, and hats off to him. He's a smart dude, you know, and he's doing the right things. That's why I'm on board with him, because he's trying to be ahead of the game. That's exactly what this is.
Skating to where the puck's going.
That's what it is. And as long as I surround myself with people that are trying to be ahead of the game and are good people, loyal, and they're doing this because they love it, and that's all you can ask for. There's not much more you can ask for than that, you know.
Selfishly, I just wish some of the more establishments would do a better job understanding where it's going. And, you get the same speeches. We've sat with 1,000 companies, and I want to give people insight into the business always. We've sat with 1,000 companies, and they're always like, we're getting there, man. It's a big ship.
Well, that's the thing. With the biggest companies, with these multi-million-dollar companies, you have a lot of red tape. And that's always going to be the biggest issue. It has to go through 15 different people before it gets to the one guy that makes a decision. That's all. So it takes a long time. When you have a company that's one guy and he's the sole guy that makes the choices, it's a lot simpler. Or you have access to the main guy and he's like, okay, make it happen. It's a green light. And then that's it. But when you have 15 different people that you have to go through to get something to happen, that's when it becomes a problem.
And COVID sped it up.
Oh, 100%. Well, COVID destroyed everything. COVID, it has literally destroyed lives, destroyed people, destroyed businesses, destroyed every type of thing you can imagine. And let me not say COVID. Better yet, let me say how the country has handled COVID, in my opinion, where they have shut everything down for all these crazy amount of months when you have a 98% survival rate. And you're going to have some people that don't agree with me, and that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. That's the reason why we live in the United States. But when you have a survival rate that's just that high, you have no business shutting down the entire country. You know what I mean? There's no business for that. So, the flu alone, if anybody does any research, the flu alone with a vaccine, as long as the flu has been around, still kills 63,000. I think this year it's been 63 to 65,000 people this year. Most people have no idea that the flu still kills people. And how long has it been around? You know what I mean? It's inevitable. It's inevitable. And they push all these mandates of closing things down, but they never push anything about being healthy. They never push anything about, hey, let's take some vitamins to up your immune system. Mm-hmm. So if you do get it, it's not going to affect you that way. Let's talk about,
not drink a gallon of soda.
Yeah, you know what I mean, every day, and let's not eat cheeseburgers every single day. I don't know, man. There's a lot of different versions or variables you can throw into that. Just me. We're all grown adults at the end of the day, and my opinion is, okay, that if you think that COVID is that bad that you want to shut down your life and shut everything down, then you know what? Stay in your house. Stay in your house and don't come out. But let the rest of the world continue on, and you can stay in your house and you can take, you can have Uber Eats, you can have whatever grocery store bring you all the groceries. You can do Amazon. Amazon, you can whatever. You don't need to even leave your house nowadays. And do it that route, and that makes you happy. You know what I'm saying?
What's terrifying, and we'll get to the defund the police thing because that's something we got to go deep in. We got to go hard in the paint. But what's scary to me is not just we saw the gym in New Jersey, we saw that bar in I think it's Staten Island.
Yeah, Staten Island. No, that was they just arrested that guy last night.
Yeah, just as an example, these people, they're pleading for their lives. They're literally like, I can't put food on my table. I can't feed my kids. And you have, because the blind.
And forget that, but it's also the highest cost of living. It's like the second highest cost of living state in the country, in New York. You know what I mean? Like in Staten Island, the cost of living there is ridiculous. So I can only imagine the rent that he pays there. You know what I'm saying?
And the point is de Blasio can't get anyone to enforce it, so he gets the sheriffs, which they don't even want to enforce it in defense of them. They don't want to enforce it.
Nobody does.
But they're trying to make these examples, and to me, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this guy is just like, if you put a sign on the door, enter at your own risk, right? Like,
That's it.
It's like we were talking last night.
That's what it comes down to. What I was saying. Yeah. You're grown as adult. You're a grown adult. Enter at your own risk. This is what it's like in here. We don't mandate masks, or we do, or whatever, and then you know what you're getting yourself into. If you don't want to go in there, don't go in, and that's it. It's that simple. But it's okay, though, because you have 300 million people protesting on the streets, though. But that's okay. With masks, some without, drinking, partying. That's not a big deal there, though.
Now,
I love it.
Before we get into defunding the police, because it is kind of comical, the big issue here is, do politicians not understand what's not enforceable? Where's that disconnect between bureaucracy and the street?
When you say enforceable, like what? What law? What do you?
If every business right now decided to just open, right, and said "fuck you," we're open, it's unenforceable.
Yeah. You would have to go literally and try to fine everybody.
You'd have to declare martial law. And you'd have to walk the streets.
But the problem is that most people are good Samaritans and law-abiding people, and they don't want to ruffle the feathers. You know what I mean? Like, and I understand that. I get it, because they don't want their business to be raided by the police every other day. So I get it. I understand it. So, it's hard, man. It comes to a point where if it's affecting you directly, then you got to do what you have to do, and the people that know you, your family, your friends, or the people that support you, they go out there and they fight for you. But
it's not enough.
It's not enough. At the end of the day, the guy still went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get out. He's probably going to win the war, but right now he still took the ride. You know what I'm saying?
The only way he wins the war is if somebody steps in with an executive order and they're able to, because at the end of the day, you can do anything you want to do in America if you're willing to spend the money on a lawyer.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
so,
of course, yeah. That's how much money you have.
You can fight, you can battle. It depends how much money you have.
My lawyer is bigger than your lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Now, defunding the police, what does that mean to you?
There's a couple different meanings to defunding the police. The mentality behind the people think that defunding police is they're taking away $50 billion or $50 million to their budget, and they're giving it to other sources like social workers, schooling, and all these different things. Most budgets in police departments countrywide is pretty bad as it is. The cops don't get paid enough. Everybody knows that. Hence why they don't get training, because the budget is shit as well. So I don't believe in defunding the police. Absolutely not. Now, the issue that I've always had is what they need to do is, when they talk about reform, is they need to get some of that budget money that they have for all this technology garbage and put it into actual training the police, where meaning they should put more training and they should have more standards for police, which they don't have. And that's the problem. That's always been the problem since day one, where they need to have some kind of social worker training. They should have some reform training. They should have some stuff on dealing with people that are psychologically impaired, or people that are disabled mentally, or whatever you want to call it. All that is training that they need to have, but all that costs money, right? So taking money away from them isn't going to help that problem. So what are you going to do? You're going to get rid of the police? Get rid of the police. Look what happened in this place the other day.
The woman, the social worker.
The woman social worker got stabbed.
She died?
Killed. Yeah, she died. Yeah, you can't have a social worker do a cop's job. You just can't. You can't. Do police need more training? 100% they do. And they need to be trained in every aspect of policing, not just shooting. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they get in this mentality of just, tactical training all the time, shooting. No. And even though some departments don't even do that.
Yeah.
They do that once a year, But let's just say that, your department's good at doing that. Well, then you need to start backing off on that a little bit and do a little bit more apprehension training, some more grappling, some more hand-to-hand training, some more, less lethal training, some more. All these different things are going to save lives. No matter what you say. If you have a guy that's more confident in his abilities, and I've said it 100 times, if someone is more confident going hands-on with somebody, you're going to save somebody's life instead of always going to lethal. You know what I mean? So the problem is that most police officers, they don't know how to go hands-on. They don't. They just don't. They don't know how to grapple. They don't know how to punch. They don't know how to defend themselves the proper way. So they're automatically always going to go either to a less lethal, which means either a baton or taser or pepper spray, right? So taser doesn't guarantee that it's going to work every single time. It doesn't work. What's next? Gun, And we both said it for a long time. 2 weeks of defensive tactic training at the academy is not enough. Absolutely not.
It's not enough. And whether they decide, I think, ultimately to put in a stipend, whether it's for somebody to get, whether it's like a Gracie GST, an intensive, something once every 2 years or once every year, something that people are able to build a skill set at a minimum. I know like there's a lot of systems out there. We talk about Tony Blauer as a system. There's a lot of systems out there. How do we how do you create the perfect budget? How do you create the perfect environment? How do you refund, right? Refund, not defund. Refund these areas properly. But my fear is no one's going to even want to go into the profession.
Yeah.
Would you right now?
Oh, absolutely not. So I retired. Yeah.
You know,
I would not be a police
numbers
officer,
are,
no.
I mean, I don't
Absolutely
have the figures in front of me, but the numbers are so far down in terms of people.
Your salary is not going to go up anywhere. Absolutely. You're probably going to get a pay cut. You're probably the most hated profession in the country right now. Probably 70% of the population hates you, and the other 30% that don't hate you, they may not hate you, but they don't. It's like something like they fear you. You know what I mean? Where they don't really want to be around you. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the families and the people that have, relatives and stuff that of course love police. And then you have your military guys, because look, a lot of military guys, they talk a lot of shit about police, a ton of it. They always put themselves at a higher standard than police. I've been both. I've been military, Marine Corps, and police. I've been both aspects. A lot of the military guys, they're always talking bad about police.
We're going to get to that. What's that retirement number say? Give me some mic. What do you got? We got figures. What are you on, 3? Yeah, it is. You just got to push it up. Push the volume up. 503? Retired. Filed for retirement in New York. 503. I mean, I don't know what the percentage is that's up, but it's high. Double? Yeah, I mean, replacing those numbers is what terrifies me.
No, it's horrendous.
Now, you're right about the military thing, okay? I think there's a lot of people, it becomes armchair quarterbacking, Tony, and I'm going to say it. There's a lot of guys that have been out 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and they tend to want to comment from the cheap seats. And you've brought it up, and I brought it up, and I'm not going to name names of people out there, but there are people out there that they'll look at a video and they'll break the whole thing down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then they'll critique the police officer never have done the job.
But if that was ever reversed and a police officer ever critiqued a military guy.
God forbid. God forbid. God forbid. Oh, he's military and da-da-da-da-da-da. And this is coming from a veteran. So, look, don't critique the job if you've never done it. I don't care who you are. I don't care what special operations unit you came from. I don't care where you come from. I don't care. I don't care. You've never done the job. You have no business critiquing anything. Until you get into a police car, this is my personal opinion, okay? Until you get into a police car and you get treated the way that police officers get treated every single day, and you got to go to an accident, handle a report, you got to go to a domestic and deal with that and do all those different things that police officers do every single day, you have no business critiquing anything. I don't give a fuck what level of instructor you think that you are. I don't care. I don't care. You haven't done the job. I would never go and say I know more than a Navy SEAL knows at Navy SEAL work. I wouldn't do that. I would never do that. I would never critique a Navy SEAL on what he's doing because I've never been a Navy SEAL. And the same thing in Delta. Never done Delta, so I would never critique a Delta guy and doing whatever he's doing. I wouldn't do it. And I'll tell you like this. We've had Navy SEAL guys that are Navy SEALs and they couldn't even pass a SWAT firearms test, a SWAT firearms qualification test, that are supposedly Navy SEALs. So I mean, at the end of the day, I very rarely ever critique any police officers on any videos. Number one, and I'm going to tell you why I don't critique. And if there's a lot of Instagram pages that critique them. There's some Instagram pages that do the right thing and they critique it the right way, and they don't just bash on the cop or bash on.
They give
they give like a bias back and forth, pros and cons of whatever happened. If you're a firearms instructor and you've been doing this for 20 years, a tactical guy, special operations guy, and you're what we would consider a subject matter expert, right? an SME, what they would say, and you go on a platform, on a social media platform, and critique an officer-involved shooting where a police officer takes another man's life for whatever reason, and you say that he's doing the wrong thing, and he did the wrong thing, and it was reckless, and he should have never done what he was doing. If you've never if you've been a police officer and you've never been involved in a shooting before, okay, just to let you guys know, as a cop, if you get into a police officer involved shooting and you shoot an individual and kill that individual, all right, his family will sue you civilly. Okay, if you shoot the guy and the guy doesn't die, then he's going to sue you civilly, right? So the criminal aspect of it, okay, will be determined within probably 48 hours to 72 hours, whether or not you're going to be charged criminally with whatever's going to happen. But what's really going to haunt you is going to be the civil litigation for the next 4 to 5 years.
Right.
Okay, so if you're some SME and you go on a social media platform that's open to the public, and you go on there and you criticize somebody, okay, as a in criminal court, they can't use that. But in civil court, they can. So they can get whatever SME, they can subpoena that guy and use that guy against that police officer for whatever he did.
Do you think military guys don't know that because they don't?
I don't know if they do or they don't.
Yeah.
But if they don't and they're talking shit, they need to keep their mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? And ask somebody if they can or they can't use. Because in the civil court, you can use whatever. You can use whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. It's civil, you know? So at the end of the day, all you're doing is hurting that police officer. Regardless if you think he did something right or wrong, you know what? Let the lawyers decide that and let the people decide that, you know? And if you are going to critique him, critique on maybe the tactics, but don't say that he's a freaking disaster or what he did was wrong or reckless. You get me? Like, do it the right way, you know? Like Police Post, for example, they have a pretty good page and they dissect things pretty good. I like the way they do it, where they're very non-biased and they're very, they do the pros and cons and all that. Now, when we're talking about fighting, let's say a use of force, where let's say a cop beats the crap out of some guy or whatever.
Non-lethal.
Yeah, non-lethal stuff. Hey, whatever. It is what it is. It's a big difference in doing that than to doing a shooting on somebody or when someone dies. You know what I mean? Like if a police officer beats the crap out of somebody and you're saying, hey, what he did was wrong and he beat the crap out of somebody. Okay, I understand that. I get it. He didn't kill the guy. He just, you know, used excessive force or whatever it may be. But when you're talking about a police officer killing someone else, unless it's one of those blatant things where, you know, you could, it's just, for example, that one shooting where the police officer goes into the house and ends up shooting somebody else. And it was the wrong house, the wrong, you know, it was a different apartment. It wasn't even, you know, the person's apartment. It was a different apartment. It was an utter disaster. Well, yeah, everybody knows, you know, that's going to be chaos regardless of how you slap it. But something that is questionable, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess people, you know, can have their own opinions on that, but that's just the way that I feel. You know what I'm saying?
What makes them think that their comments matter? Is it ego? Because you've been in the military, you get it.
I'll tell you like this. You know what it is? I think if you put a police-involved shooting video on your page, you're going to get double and triple the engagement.
So it's chasing the likes.
It's clout. It's clout. So for me, right now, if your page is dedicated to that, it's different. You know what I mean? Where your job is to educate people on police procedures and that's one thing. But when you're just a let's say a firearms instructor, you're just a random guy and you're going there and you're putting a random video of some cop that you think he made a mistake and he's a disaster, you know what I mean? Then what are you doing? What's that for? Is that for you to show that, you know what you're doing and the cop doesn't know? Because I mean, I can pull tons of videos of military guys that are utter disasters, holding the guns wrong, you know, helmets backwards, and all kinds of shit in every freaking branch. So, you know, what's the point of that?
Yeah, it's a double standard that's existed for a while, and we've seen it. We've seen it play out 100 times. I think a lot of it's ego. Yeah, I think a lot of it's ego. You know, my opinion matters more than yours. Yeah, you know what I have to say matters more than everybody else, and I'm right because of this. Whatever it is, because my dick's this big, and that's why I'm right. Yeah. And that's something that I've never quite fully understood in this business, and I don't think I'm meant to, and I don't think I ever will, because I look at it more as like Instagram, social media, these are real people behind these pages, behind these things. You think some of these people don't know that they did the wrong things? You damn right they know that they did.
Absolutely.
You think some of these people don't know that they're questioning what's going on themselves, maybe?
Yeah.
You know, do they really need somebody from the rough, from the cheap seats to kind of chime in and say, oh, you know, and it could be somebody that they looked up to, you know, like an instructor or whatever, somebody, and that's what doesn't make sense to me. To me, I compare it to like when you see these actors, actresses, movie people start to chime in, like, you know, you get the Cardi B's that actually think that they're relevant in politics, and it's like you're offering your insight, okay? And it's really a lack of expertise. Calling them SMEs is a bit much because they've never, like you said, done the job. They've never gone through the academy. They've never picked up a book that says this is the local laws. They don't even understand what they're getting into. And not only that, most of these videos, there's no context. There's no context of the call. There's no context.
Nothing. You're getting a 15-second video. You have no idea what happened when they got there, what happened after.
What they know.
What they know.
Arriving on the scene.
You're getting there. You don't know what they heard on the radio before they got there. You don't know anything, you know. So whatever, man. I mean, it is what it is. Everybody's going to have their opinion, and that's, you know, in the United States, you're able to have your opinion. You're going to critique whatever you think is the right thing, whatever you think is the wrong thing. Do I agree with everything that people do? No, I don't. But that's my opinion, and you're entitled to yours, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion here. So I'm always going to look at it as a standpoint of, you know, how does this help anyone? Does it help anyone by you bashing on a police officer and saying that he's a complete fuck up, without giving any context of what would have been the right thing to do or would have been the wrong thing to do or what you think would have been a smarter choice? No, it's not. And that would take a long time for you to explain what would be the right and wrong things to do in a situation like that, especially when you don't have, of course, all the context of the video. So you just take a video for what it is for 10 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
If you could fix the whole defund the police thing, if you could take a department, whether it's Seattle, New York,
one of the bigger ones,
what suggestions would you make? What would be like, hey, guys, listen.
Mandatory standardized training year-round. I mean, you should have a class of training every freaking week. They have, let's say, for example, you get New York, you're going to be pulling people to train every single week, and it's standardized all the way around the department. You know, however you want to do it, whether it's 2 people from here, 2 people from there, 3 people from there, it's 2 hours a day, 2 hours every other day. I don't care how you do it, but they have to have more training. It's not about defunding the police. It's about just getting more training. And nobody can ever deny that police need more training. And I don't mean in just tactics and shooting. I mean in all aspects of human interaction training. Every aspect of it. They need it. They need it. You know, it's something that they should go into interrogation schools. They should go into all kinds of these courses, or have people come to the departments, especially a department like New York and you know, in Cali or LA, or, you know, these departments have so much money, but they just choose to use the money for other stuff, you know, instead of training their, you know, department. You know what I mean?
Drones and stuff.
Drones.
Yeah, you know, all the technology. They want all the technology, and all they're doing is they're not helping at all. You know, they're not helping. They're just making things worse. More technology, less training. There you go. More technology, less hands-on. There you go.
Seems to be the quid pro quo these days.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Yeah, that's how it is. And, you know, when I came on as a police officer, there were no computers. You feel me?
Showing our age.
Yeah, there were no computers. Everything was handwritten.
Handwritten.
So when you looked at a car, and the car did an infraction or whatever, you know, you didn't know what you had. You didn't know what you were stopping. You could be stopping an armed robbery subject. You could be stopping a homicide subject. You didn't know back then. So it's one of those things where
it was real police work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not saying that now police work now is not real, but it was a gamble compared to now. You run the tag. You know, you have a computer in front of you, you run the tag. Oh, you might know that's a stolen car before you even try to pull it over. You get me? You know, and I could tell you a couple of instances where I had that, where I didn't know the car was a stolen car. I pull the car over, car backs up, crashes into my car, and takes off on me, you know? So, and I get into a full-blown chase or whatever. But you You just didn't know. And next thing you know, then the dispatch is scrambling to get you a tag. They run it. Oh, and by the way, yeah, just letting you know, this car's fleeing from you. It's a stolen car. They just crashed into your car. You know what I mean? Tried to run you over.
Do you think some of the wrong people got into police work for the wrong reasons, and they're kind of caught up in this? And it's because it's not a job for the faint of heart, right? Like, so there's a lot of people I think that got into it because it has become so lax on the training, and it has become so lax in weeding people out. And I mean, there has to be.
You're always gonna have. Listen, you're always gonna have your police officers that are. What do you call those? When they punch in and punch out.
Paycheck guys.
Paycheck guys. You know what I mean? Where they come in, they handle the reports, they give their 2 tickets a day or whatever quota your department has, and when they're not supposed to have a quota, but they have it anyways, and right out. You know, you're gonna have those guys, and you're gonna have your gun-ho guys that are looking for real bad guys all the time. All these different stuff, and then you have your super tactical guys, like your SWAT guys and all that. So you have a lot of different type of people, so it just depends, man. You have your patrol for life guys that are patrol forever, you know what I mean, that they're happy
super lifers,
and then they're happy being on day shift, working depending on what shift, if you have an 8-hour 10-hour shift, but doing your day shift and having the weekends off, and you're chill, and when you walk and you get out of that car, that's it. You don't have to worry about policing anymore. And then you have the detectives they live, breathe, and eat it every single day. They take their cases home with them, just like teachers do. Teachers teach, and then people think, oh, no, you're done. No, you're not done. Then you got to go home, grade papers, set up exams, set up quizzes, set up all these different things. So it's a 24/7 job. And what do teachers get paid? 30 freaking, 30,000 a year. And they're probably one of the most important jobs in the country, They're literally teaching our youth to be the next generation, so it's like, I don't know, man. Ranting right now.
No, I know it's gotten you emotional in recent years. Do you still feel the pain? Because I know how many friends we have still doing the job, and especially you, guys you've been close with for years. Do you still feel the emotional pull when they're sharing with you, telling you what it's like, what they're going through, or are you just telling them, listen?
A lot of my friends are retired already, thank God. And then the ones that are still on the department, they're just waiting to retire. They're just counting the days, you know what I mean? It's like that's what everybody's doing. Or they're trying to figure out a way to get out. When they've done a certain job, they've done, let's say, 10 years already vested. They're literally trying to find another way of doing something else so they could just vest out and get out,
What advice do you give them?
What advice do I give them? Anybody that, what the biggest problem police officers have? Complacency. That is the number one issue that cops have. And why do they have that? They mainly have it because they have the opportunity to make more money when needed, meaning overtime or off duties, So what happens is, I want to go on a vacation. Oh, let me work a couple off duties. Let me work on a vacation. Oh, we're just working some overtime. So what happens, you get complacent because the money's there. You just got to work more, right? The best advice that I always say, I was like, risk now so that it will be fruitful later on. Risk something, even though you're complacent, tell yourself, okay, I this is what I want to do. This is what I'm thinking of. Risk it. It's worth the risk, because if it pans out, you do it part-time for a couple years like I did, and then when you're making enough money, more, either the same or more as a police officer, get out. And now it's your choice whether you want to be a cop anymore. It's not whether you need to be a cop anymore to feed your family. Now it's you're saying to yourself, all right, well, I got this part-time gig that I'm making pretty good money on, and I'm a cop, but I don't need to be a cop anymore. I think I can make this work if I go full-time with it. And that was my mentality at the end of the day.
Yeah, we've had a lot of friends that, we kind of say, you got to take a chance at some point. You got to take a leap.
That's the problem. Most guys won't. And everybody was like with me. Everybody except for my really close friends were like, you're crazy. You're never going to make it. You're going to end up in a dumpster. That's the biggest mistake of your life. Because when that's all you know, that's all you've done your entire life. You don't know anything else. So it's like, that's not going to give you enough money, and you're going to be broke and da-da-da-da-da-da. And 6 years later, here we are.
Right.
6 years later, here we are. You know, in my head, the drive that I had.
You had a plan.
I had a plan, but the drive that I had, knowing leaving police work, knowing what they used to tell me and the things I heard from them, there was no way I was going to fail. If I had to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not sleep for 3 years, I would have done it to ensure that I was going to become successful. I didn't care what it took because I didn't have the face, you know what I'm saying, to be able for these people to be right and me wrong. There's no way. You know what I mean? Use whatever drives you. I don't care what drives you. Use it. Use it as fuel. And use it to go to that next level.
We talk about that a lot off mic, you know, you and I. It's what drives you, what motivates you, what gets you out of bed, and you know my reasons with some things because I have to have an antagonist at all times. Yeah. Like I'm wired that way. I have to create the hate. Like it's like I'm a little bit like, you know, Michael Jordan talks about that a lot in the thing. I'm not comparing myself to him, but I'm saying he'll find a way to be self-motivated. Yeah. And you see in our conversations, I find ways to like.
The one thing that I tell people all the time, never use money as a motivator.
No.
That's the worst thing you could ever do. Don't ever do something because of the money. Do something that either you're really good at or you love doing it or at least you have a passion for it. You know what I mean? Because if you use money as a motivator, then it just becomes all about money, and then you become greed. It becomes greed, even though you're making maybe you are making good money.
Oh, and if you use money as a motivator, there will be a time when you're making good money, but that'll run its course.
That's going to run its course, absolutely. If you're passionate about whatever it is, you're good at what you're doing, and you're providing a service that nobody else is providing, whether it's you or not. You know what I mean? The money's going to be there. The money's going to come. It's going to get there, you know, and then you're going to sit back, you know, and you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe I'm even here. You know, there's days that you sit back, like I sit back and I'm like, I can't believe I'm still not a cop. I can't believe that.
And you have to bite off and build something for yourself because that gives you the freedom. Like you and I have had battles about that. Like we get to pick and choose our spots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can say no to things. And it took me, and people don't realize, it took me maybe 15 years, and there's people in this room that have seen me, you included, have seen me walk out of job because I don't need it. Okay? I don't need this aggravation. Like, and that's a powerful place to be. And you get to pick your spots and you get to choose your battles and you can kind of control your destiny a little bit better. Like you say no to a lot of things, and a lot of people don't realize that about you. You say no to a lot of stuff. I know that because I know our relationship and our friendship, and it goes back further than I think almost anybody in this business in so many ways.
Yeah.
But
money doesn't break me or make me, bro. I've never been motivated by money ever. I've turned down gigs that have offered me a lot of money, and because of my principles and my morals or what I believe, I just won't do it. You know what I'm saying? I just won't do it. I don't really care. I'm happy. I've always been content, man. I'm content living a happy life, meaning like I've never been a person who needs to be rich. I never needed to be rich. Like I don't need to be a multi-millionaire to be happy. I don't. I try to live a very, like right now, the bills that I have, even if I was still a cop, I could still be living with the bills that I have. You get me? Like that's the way that I live my life. I'm okay with that. I'm content with that. So some people aren't.
We've talked about this before. Do you think a lot of people, not so much now because it's died down, because just the nature of the beast, do you think a lot of people get into the tactical industry thinking it's a place they're going to get rich? And we've talked about this. I talked about this with JJ, Doug, and Max. There's very few people that can actually say they make a living in this space, in these spaces, just being a personality. Do you think too many people get caught up thinking like, you know, I got a big Instagram and that's how I'm going to make a living. And they don't really have a plan. They don't have multiple streams of income. People don't realize the multiple businesses that you have without getting into them. Do you think, you know, we talk to a dozen people a day about this. Yeah. Too many people have these champagne wishes. They think, you know, oh yeah, I'm just going to, you know, have an Instagram and I'm going to be.
If I told you how many people have 500,000 followers and they don't make a single dime from it, you know how many people I know like that? They don't know what to do.
Oh, we've had the conversations.
They don't know how to convert it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that. They struggle. They struggle, and they have 500,000 followers. And The problem there is that they have something valuable and don't understand how to make it worth.
How to monetize.
How to monetize it. That's what I'm looking for right there. How to monetize it, And so just because you have a lot of followers doesn't mean shit. There's people that don't have any followers that make 3, 4, 5, 10 times the amount of money that people have 500,000 followers make. So it really doesn't matter. In the tactical community, you have the guys that have no other choice, that they have to go in the tactical world because that's all they know. And then you have the guys that want to come into the tactical world thinking that they can make some money. I don't know if they could become rich doing it, but they thinking they can make some actual money in it. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of money in the tactical community. There is a lot of money in the gun industry. You just have to find your niche about it. You have to be smart about it, and you can make some money. Definitely, absolutely.
I think there's money to be made, but you have to be willing to be broader. You can't be just like the days of just doing gun review pages or things like that. I think that's running its course. It's the margins for that are tightening up.
The issues now is that all the platforms are being banned. You know what I mean? They're being killed by social media. So YouTube is killing pages that are guns all the time. Instagram, same thing. So it's harder now. It's not like it was 5-6 years ago. Now it's tougher to have a gun page. If you're a firearms instructor and you're just literally teaching people on Instagram on how to shoot, your engagement has gone down 50 to 60%, maybe even more. You know what I mean? So what people were paying you 3 or 4 years ago is not what they're paying you right now.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem. So I mean, to me, to both of us, I should say me and you, we saw that ahead of time.
Way ahead of time.
We saw that ahead of time. And I knew, people want to make fun of me because I went into the fitness world or because I went into the mixed martial arts
God,
world.
we got crucified. We talk about that on other shows.
You know what I mean? So they could talk all the smack they want, but who's laughing at the end? When I got 3 or 4 different demographics on my page, and I don't need to put videos of a police officer shooting to get views or, some shit like that on my page. I don't need to do that. I have plenty of stuff that I can put on my page that's going to get the views, that's going to get the engagement, right? So I can do it on my own.
They become like one-trick ponies, Tony. Like they become like almost like, they don't know anything else. So fitness was one that you and I saw very early on. We saw fitness. You were obviously way ahead, but I had always been palling around the fitness industry one way or the other. But I'm just a believer that, when everybody's selling, you buy. When everybody's buying, you sell. When everybody's zigging, you zag.
We both knew, one thing is this, we both knew that the fitness industry was a lot larger than the gun industry. So we knew that. So how do you tap into that? Being a gun guy, right? You have to be able to somehow transition doing both things, and
tie them together
somehow or some way. How do you incorporate both things into one? So that way all the fitness people enjoy your gun stuff and all the gun people enjoy your fitness stuff,
And for some people, one platform might not be a home run, and maybe it's another platform. There's guys that kill it on YouTube and they're okay on IG. There's guys that have rabid, IG fans and they're small accounts. They're very inwardly facing. There's all different genres out there, and when you're out there now, and some of the work now you're even doing with Big Daddy Unlimited.
Yes.
Which is a big thing right now, and they're coming on strong, and you're very high on what they're doing and how they're approaching it. I think they could be one of the companies that ties it all together, that brings it all together.
Yes.
With some of the things that they're exploring. You just got back from the Epic shoot and got to spend some time with them. I know that. They seem to be like they want to do it right. And they want to spend some money in the right directions. Yeah,
that Big Daddy Unlimited, if you guys don't know, it's a membership website that literally is they are guaranteeing you that you're going to get the best prices, number one, on whatever products they have behind their paywall. They will match or beat any price that is whatever is in stock, right? So in everything, they have, I think, 300,000 products right now. So it's not only just gun stuff. It's like fishing, hunting, everything, And now, starting this year, they brought me on board to do all their content creation. So we're going to be doing all kinds of reviews behind the paywall by a ton of influencers and a ton of competition shooters, a ton of respectable guys that are respected in the industry, that have great credentials. You know, they're going to be giving education. They're going to be doing reviews on all these different products that people don't know any better. You know what I'm saying? Where on YouTube, you're going to find some of these reviews, but I mean, some
It's
of them
not curated.
Exactly. You know, we're talking about a guy just saying, okay, these are 3 different products. This is what I like about these 3 different products. Bang, bang, bang. You know, and the guy knows what he's talking about. Bottom line. You know what I mean? So, and that's the goal. The goal is to educate people, to build a community. So what a lot of people don't realize about Big Daddy Unlimited is that all the money that they collect on this, not all of it, I'm sorry, a portion of what they collect from each and every single member goes into fighting for your rights and fighting for your Second Amendment. Okay, that's what a lot of people don't realize. Okay, they're huge into the Second Amendment. And we all know that we all love our guns, and Second Amendment is crucial here in the United States. So when you go in there with the mentality that you're paying the $10 a month or whatever that you may be, in the back of your head, always keep in mind that you're giving for a cause. You're not just giving to get great prices or education or, you know, you're giving for a cause. It's the cause of the reason why the United States, to me, is the best country in the world. You know what I'm saying? And why we are the best, you know? So it has a lot of big things coming, you know, and they haven't even started really marketing yet. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I love the idea of the paywall. You know that I'm a huge fan of that. Obviously, with the rise of OnlyFans, I'm tremendously bullish on paywalls because I think it's an easier way to monetize content, and it's one of the failures of Instagram, right?
Yeah.
It's if we were to pick one thing that's fundamentally wrong with Instagram is we pump all this content onto the platform, but unless we're our own business, there's no way to monetize it per se because they don't pay you or incentivize you. In fact, they charge you for ads. It's a Facebook model.
Yeah.
So if Facebook and Instagram were to have one Achilles heel, is they're not incentivizing their people to put their content there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of people are looking at things like Twitch. That's why a lot of people are looking at things still like YouTube because YouTube offers that incentive. But it's only a matter of time.
Patreon, they got Patreon now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, before these paywalls start to take over, because why wouldn't you get involved with something like that?
Let me tell you something. Them girls kill it in OnlyFans.
Murder.
There's some girls that are they're making, you're talking about 6 figures a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. You know what I mean? At what cost? You know what I mean? You know, it's a lot of cost to it. I guess you could say that. But hey, look, I ain't gonna hate on you if you're trying to make money. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
I think the ones that are killing it aren't really selling their soul. I truly believe that, because I think that they're looking at. I know a couple. They're grabbing a bag of cash, Tony. They look at it as like COVID, everything else. They got in when it's hot.
Yeah.
And they're grabbing a bag of cash and they're running for the door. and honestly, and the joke's going to be on everybody else, because I know some of these people, and so do you. I'm not going to name names, but they're making $50,000 a month
for real,
and
straight up.
And and in 6 months when they pay off their house, pay off their cars, and they got $300,000 in the bank, who's laughing? Like you said,
yeah,
they're going to be
some of them, like you said, some of them, bear all, some don't. Some, keep it to the bikini.
Playing the game.
They're playing the game, the lingerie, and hey, listen, the guys, you know how guys are, bro. Guys are gonna pay whatever. If they're a fan, they're gonna pay whatever it is, or they think that they're gonna see something. You know what I mean? They're gonna pay whatever it is. 15,
Talk
20,
to me,
30 bucks.
exclusive.
Yeah, the emails and all that type of stuff.
I know girls that are getting jewelry on Amazon and gifts and
can imagine.
Oh fuck, and they're murdering it.
They're killing it.
But what it does, and I've talked about this with Cutler, and we've talked about this, you and I, is it opens the door to the whole idea of paywalls. So it opens the conversation to paywalls. And people now, with the rise of ESPN Plus, with everything else that's out there, they're okay with something that's maybe $9.99 a month or $5.99 a month, whatever it is, like John Lovell's doing and like Big Daddy's doing.
Like for me, for example, when because I have all my online fitness programs, right? So my online fitness programs,
paywall.
Well, I have that now, right? The subscription service. Mm-hmm. But back in the day, it was just, okay, buy my fitness program. It was $150 or $90. Well, not everybody has $150 to dish out on one shot, So you pay $29.99 a month and you have access to all my programs. You know what I'm saying? For $30 a month. And now you can get whatever you want, when you want to get, and you pay them monthly, and that's it. And it's sometimes for some people, it's easier that way. They can afford $25 a month or $30 a month, but they can't afford $150 right off the back. You know what I mean? So it just depends, man. It depends. And you're getting the same thing. It's just over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
You know?
And podcasting was something I gravitated. It's not a traditional paywall, but when I saw the deals that were coming down, I said, geez, kind of like it was just.
Well, podcasting was always great for you because you just like to talk shit.
Yeah.
And that's one of your gifts of life is opening your mouth.
100%. 100%.
And when you have that gift of gab, when you have that opening the mouth gift like you do, it's only makes sense to make it monetize
it. That's it. Well, and it was that, and it was the combination of just having cool conversations with people. I mean, you knew my Rolodex for years. It was just having these cool conversations with people, and I'm like, I gotta fucking record this shit.
Absolutely.
I'm like, this is just crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. I saw other people doing it, and I blinked an eye, and I'm 305 episodes in, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time before I built this catalog, and I said, this is the right space for me, because I was just on the phones all the time, and I'm like,
oh, absolutely. And when you said you wanted to do it, what did I say?
Do it.
Fucking do it. Fucking do it. I've seen your highs and I've seen your lows, bro.
100%. You've been through it all.
It's one of those things where if you're good at something, you just have to find a way to make it work, right? If you're better at something than 99% of the population, whatever it is, I don't care. There's somebody out there that's going to be interested in what you're good at. So if you find a way like you did, make it work, make it happen for you, hey, that's the way to do it.
100%.
That's the way to do it. I don't care what it is. I mean, I don't care if it's playing the violin. There's ways of doing things. However it is, you have a skill at something. Somebody out there is willing to pay money for that skill. I don't know what my skill might be, but somebody's going to be willing to pay that money, and you have to capitalize on that. If that's something that you love to do or you love.
You said something to me that always stuck with me too. You're like, never give up the side hustle. Never give up something.
I told you that 100 times, bro. 100 times. And I got mad at you when you did.
That's the power.
Yeah. You always have that there. You always have that there. No matter what happens in your life, if you had, let's say, a 9-to-5 job and you have a side hustle, that side hustle is something that you're always working towards to make a little bit better. And it's always there. So the minute that you say, I'm done with that side hustle, then you end up doing that 9-to-5 and you get complacent. And what happens when they cut your head off? Then you got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That side hustle would have been there. Then you're like, all right now I don't have my main thing, but at least I got money coming in with this side hustle. You know what I mean? And fuck it, I'll do it full time for the next couple months until something else comes up. You know what I'm saying?
And in the firearms business, there's just not enough money in the corporate side.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'll tell
you got to be
that.
you have to be like top 3 companies, 4 companies. You know what I mean? And
or in a dream situation, which there are 2 or 3. Believe me, we've talked about it. There's a couple scenarios where I know I could hit a home fucking run doing it and still have
top 3 companies.
Yeah,
that we talked about.
100%.
Yeah, top 3 companies.
But that's a combination of creating the perfect environment too, and having that. But you still don't give up the rights or certain things,
Yeah, you always have to have the cards in your hands, man. You're the house. Never give up your cards. Never show your cards. I've always kind of like held everything to me. And I never show everybody, everything I got. I'm going to show you what you need to see. Even my page in itself, my platform, my social media, people see that. They automatically judge you or think that's who you are based off what they see on social media. And they have no idea that's not who you are. That's just your business. You know what I'm saying? In my personal life, and you can attest to that, I'm nothing like my social media portrays. Nothing. So, I had a guy email me the other day that saw my show with John Lovell. And he was like, you're an arrogant dick, this and that, and I'll never pay for anything, but I'll go with John Lovell. And I'm like thinking to myself, does this guy have any idea that I was acting? That it was a show, acting. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the purpose of the show, right? To make it interesting, and you're literally acting. You're portraying yourself to be a certain type of person. And now the guy literally wrote me that email. So of course I wrote him an email back, and I told him what he thought about me, which I wipe my ass with what anybody thinks about me. But you know that.
Yeah. No, it's no different than when, listen, we've been talking about this since forever. It's no different than when people come out of the woodwork and say X, Y, or Z. Even when I started the podcast, I've dealt with hate on levels people can't even comprehend. But
remember mine? The guy that said he was going to shoot me with a 45 and kill me?
You've dealt with a little bit more different kinds of hate. But,
there was a guy looking for me in my gym the other day.
That's an awesome video, though. You got to share that.
I can give it to you. I'll give it to you.
That's okay.
So firstly, there was this guy. I own a gym in Miami, Florida, if you guys don't know, and with my partner Diego De Vera. And there was some random guy that came to my gym 2 or 3 times asking for me, but not just asking for me, but asking for me in a very aggressive manner.
He's looking for a piece.
Yeah, he was like looking for problems or whatever. But the thing is he always would go in the mornings, and I'm never there in the mornings. I'm always in the air in the afternoons, So he always ended up getting Diego. If you guys don't know my partner Diego, he's a 4-time world champion striker.
Yeah, it's not something you want to bite off.
No, he's just a small
Might be
guy.
worse.
Yeah, right. But Diego always has the mentality of what is this guy's purpose? You know what I mean? Like, why is he doing what he's doing? Is there a reason behind it? So he's kind of a little nicer than I am. Now in my older age, I would probably venture to say that. Because the guy actually walked up while Diego was on the second floor, and he was like, where the fuck is Tony? And then Diego was like, I told you, because he had already kicked him out the day prior. And the guy was like, fuck you and fuck this gym and whatever. At that point, I don't know if I would have laughed or if I would have just slapped that guy right in the face right off the back. You know what I mean? Like, after we tried to kick him out several times, and he doesn't want to leave anymore, So in the state of Florida, as you can, on private property, I can literally escort the guy out, and he refuses to come out. I can do whatever, I can apply whatever means necessary to get him off my property. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, would have not ended well, at that moment with me. Diego, on the other hand, he's a smaller guy. He's about 5'6", 5'7", probably 160, 170 pounds. Ferocious. He's like a little Tasmanian devil, And the guy ended up getting in his face, and Diego had to show him that he wasn't playing around, So it was an interesting thing. But, I mean, John, I've never seen this guy in my life. Never met the guy. Never seen the guy. I have no idea who the guy is.
And I talk about that a lot in my stories. I post all the time. Just because you follow someone or just because you pay attention to their content doesn't mean you know them. I
remember you said that. I saw your story today.
All the time. I get people that hit me up that want to be on the show, and I'm flattered. I'm honestly blown away by it. I get 5 or 6 messages a week, and I go through them, and the team and I will look at stuff, and I'm always looking for somebody that has a fresh story. But sometimes I'm like, they'll go into these big things, and then they'll tell me about their life, and they'll tell me about their kid, and I'm like, it's not a no, but it's like, you think you know me from this. This is one part of my life. It's not. It's not all my, you're trying to endear, they're trying to build camaraderie, they're trying to build, and I'm like, the way the show works is on referral. Like, if you refer, say, it's a family thing. It's on referral. It's not to say somebody can't message me but it's not, this isn't done in a vacuum. I'm not recording this in my mother's basement. There's 4 people. It's a team. You know what I mean? This is employees. There's people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everybody's chipping in. So I try to explain that to people. This isn't, Johnny in his basement with a microphone.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part sometimes. But, the reality is, I think people think they're going to come on it and it's going to be lightning in a bottle, and that's going to make them somebody or validate them or whatever. And I'm flattered by that, truly flattered by that. It's similar to when people hit you up and want to do a collaboration, which you've said many times. Like, a lot of that stuff is few and far between now, because you reach a point where it's like, what's everybody getting out of this? It's like, what's the goal? What's the end game? I want to have people on that want to have good conversations. I want to have people on that want to have good dialogue, and I want to learn from the people that are on. And anytime I'm having conversations with people on this show, I want to make sure that they're on it for the right reasons. I don't need to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry that hits me up. But you see that I think people get mad for the wrong reasons. I had a guy the other day. You talk about a guy attacking you. I had a guy on LinkedIn message me. This is a funny fucking story. I think he lives in Vegas, actually, which is even funnier. But he invented the Dirty Harry holster. I don't even want to validate him by talking about him. But he sends me this big long thing, about like how he wants to promote the holster and all this. And I'm like, that's not what you didn't even listen to a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a product plug. It's not that way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here to tell a story and I'm here to talk to people like, but like he doubled down.
You mean this isn't the Home Shopping Network?
It's on QVC. It's on QVC. We've talked about this, but that's the whole thing. People get caught up in this, like, I'm going to come on and I'm going to pitch a product or it's going to change my life. But this guy doubled down and he's like trying to tell me how to do it. And I'm like, buddy, this is what it got to. I've done 300 of these.
I think I know what I'm doing.
I have
This isn't my first rodeo.
Yeah, I've done 300 plus of these. I didn't just like create this in a vacuum. Why don't you retool your conversation to say, what can I do?
Yeah.
What makes sense? What fits your show? What conversation? I've had congressmen on. I've had, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm shaking my head. And then he had the audacity to even double down further. And I posted it. I posted the whole conversation.
Oh, did you?
On LinkedIn. He had the audacity to double down and say something like, and your guest list, it might be impressive, but they're not like, you don't have any people with real knowledge. And I'm like, that's great. I'm having Tony on next week. You can tell him he doesn't have real knowledge. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with Like, what is wrong with you?
He just got upset. They got upset.
I'm like,
wait, they want to be on your show, bro. They want to be on your show. They want to be on the John Bartolo show.
Something. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll send him a box of donuts.
They got to be pink box donuts.
They got to be pink box. That's the best. What are we at for time? Where are we at?
Jeez, we're on an hour already.
We got to call it quits.
Yeah.
Got to save something for the ladies. So, listen. With this COVID, there's nothing coming up, so I can't say that you have anything coming up.
The Epic shoot, supposedly they have one April, May.
May.
Yeah, Epic shoot.
And Big Daddy Unlimited, got to go check them out.
Yeah.
What other sponsors, anything else you want to plug? Everybody knows where to find you. I'll put the links.
Yeah. Obviously, you guys got my website, Instagram, YouTube. Obviously, I'm always very grateful and thankful for First Form. As you know, I'm wearing my nice Christmas red. See that? It's nice.
It's phenomenal. First
nice
Form,
apparel,
First class.
Shout
out to all the guys there, by the way.
Yeah, no, they're great.
What a crew.
Yeah. First Form's the best, man. Monster, love a Monster.
Yeah, hello to Hans.
Hans.
Yeah.
Hans, my man. He killed it on the Triumph this week.
CBDMD.
They're a really great company, man. I mean, I'm so grateful and blessed with just all my sponsors. I really cannot. I work with such really good companies. Just started with Spartan Race. Started with them, getting with them. Christensen Arms, Blackhawk, Blackwater Ammo. I work with those guys too. They're great.
Caleb called me while we were on.
Yeah. Blackwater Arms, great company. Canic Century Arms, they've been great with me as well. They've been super good with me. So I really honestly, the companies that I work with, man, they've supported me in pretty much everything that I've tried to do. You know what I'm saying? In regards to just the demographics, the markets, this and that, and all the crazy stuff, So I really, really honestly can't complain, man.
And it pays to work with brands that listen.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. You have to, not only that they listen, but that they support you. Mm-hmm. That's one big thing, because you can work with a brand and get paid salary or whatever, but then when you ask them that you need something in regards to like an event or this or that or whatever, they're like, oh no, we're not interested. Yeah, they're there. You got to be working with a company that's that's going to be like, I got you. Don't worry, don't worry about it. It's all good, Sornex, the man Bo just walked into the building. Yeah. Sornex, forgot about Sornex. I love Sornex.
Shout out to Bo Sandoval.
Yeah, Bo just walked in here, and but yeah, definitely. Almost forgot Sornex. Sornex is a great company too, with Bert and all those guys. They're just awesome over there, man. And I've been with them for a couple years.
He's one of the most interesting men in the world.
Yeah. It's a great family. They have a great thing going on over there, and it's just all these different companies, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So listen. We're going to, before we take us out, head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. Go check all the links. I'll put Tony's links down below, and we'll put a Big Daddy Unlimited link down there.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll put one down there. Go check them out. I
Guys,
know Bo's a member. Bo's a member. He's a card-carrying member. Fuck, take my money.
Well, the thing with Big Daddy, guys, just so that you know, they are going to have their own ammo manufacturing this coming up year. That's going to be a done deal for sure from what I'm hearing. So the ammo is definitely very scarce right now. There's like no ammo anywhere, and they do not price gouge. So I went on, was it Lex Ammo that I bought my ammo recently from? I bought Lex Ammo the other day, and I've been buying ammo from them forever. And they're good. They're a good company, and I paid, it was $650?
Woo!
$650 for 1,000 rounds when they used to be $200, you know?
Did you hear that, motherfucker?
Yeah. So, you know, it is not cheap out there for ammo. I am guaranteeing you that Big Daddy, when they get ammo, and they literally update, I think, 7 to 8 times a day on whatever shipments they have coming and all this stuff, they do not price gouge. As a matter of fact, when I was over there last weekend, they showed me a receipt of a guy that bought 1,000 rounds from them, and it was $219. So I was like in awe. I was in awe. But this is like it's like everything else. They send out emails every single day, right? And you got to be on top of it. Yeah. You got to be on the email.
Strike.
Oh, there it is. Boom. I got to jump on it, because if you don't, it's going to be gone in an hour, because everybody's out there trying to get it, you know. So definitely highly recommend them. So if you need ammo, if you need whatever it is you need. Plus, they're going to be expanding their product line like crazy this year too. So
listen, let's wrap. And
we're done. We're done. That's it. It's a done deal.
Listen, shout out to all the sponsors. I want to thank real quick Gallo Technologies, Rhino Metals. Tony mentioned most of them. Full Quartz and Firearms, Right On Optics. I have to thank Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. Go check them out. Blackwater Ammunition, which Tony mentioned. Enforce Weapon Lights. Shout out to them too. I appreciate everybody.
Kenzie's Optics. Kenzie's Optics.
Shout out to Kenzie's Optics, Keith. I love those guys, Keith and Katie. Take us out. We're out of here.